Have you ever wondered if you could find a real corporate drama, a story about huge challenges, a big transformation, and some seriously high-stakes bets, all buried inside a boring old government document? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're diving into one company's make-or-break year, and the whole story is told through the pages of a single, really powerful report.
See, every company that's publicly traded has to file this document. It's called a Form 10K, and you can think of it as their official, totally unfiltered story of the year. The good, the bad, and the strategy for what's coming next. There's no marketing spin here, it's just the facts. And this document is going to be our guide today. We're going to use the 10K from a company called CVD Equipment Corporation to really understand the massive challenges it was up against in 2025 and the incredibly bold plan it launched to fight its way back. So, who is this company? Well, for over 4 decades, CVD has been in the business of building these highly complex, super specialized machines. And these aren't just any machines. They create the cutting-edge materials that go into things like jet engines, powerful electronics, and next-gen batteries. So in short, they are a deep tech company, literally building the building blocks of our future. But here's the thing. Being a foundational company doesn't make you immune to problems. And as their 2025 10K shows in painful detail, CVD was flying into some serious financial turbulence. Let's just start with this number right here. Negative 53.7%. That is the drop, the cratering, in new orders the company got in 2025 compared to the year before. Just think about that. More than half of their new business pipeline, it just vanished. For any company, that is not just a red flag, it is a full-blown 5-alarm fire. And to really get how bad that is, you've got to see where they started the year. Look at this. At the end of 2024, CBD had a backlog that's basically confirmed future work of almost $20 million. A pretty healthy pipeline that gave them a clear view of the future. And then, just 1 year later, this is what was left. The backlog had collapsed by almost 2/3. I mean, with new orders evaporating and the backlog shrinking this fast, the company wasn't just facing a tough situation. They were on the brink of a real crisis. So what do you do when the numbers look like this, right? You don't just cross your fingers and hope things get better. You have to take drastic action. And that's what they did. In late 2025, with its back against the wall, CVD's board approved a radical plan to completely transform how the company operated. Okay, so the plan had 3 main pillars. First up, sell off their SDC division, which makes gas delivery systems, to get a quick infusion of cash. Second, stop making all their components in-house and start outsourcing fabrication to slash their fixed costs. And third, completely tear down and rebuild their sales strategy to reach more customers. And that first step, it had a huge, immediate impact. The sale of the SDC division brought in nearly $17 million in cash. Now, this wasn't just about survival. It was about giving the company the financial firepower to actually invest in its future. All right, so with a bunch of cash in the bank and a leaner way of operating, the company could finally shift its focus from just fixing the past to actually winning the future. And the 10K lays out exactly where they believe that future growth is going to come from. They're making 3 really big bets. Okay, bet number 1, aerospace. Next-gen jet engines need these super light, incredibly heat-resistant materials called CMCs. They let engines run way hotter, which saves a ton of fuel. CVD builds the machines that make them. Bet number 2, microelectronics. The electrification of everything needs chips that can handle way more power. That means something called silicon carbide wafers. And yep, CVD builds the systems that grow those crystals. And bet number 3, EV batteries. The race is on for batteries that charge faster and last longer. CVD makes equipment for materials like carbon nanotubes, these tiny structures that could totally revolutionize energy storage. But like I said, a 10K is brutally honest. So right after laying out this super exciting growth plan, there's a section called Risk Factors. This is the company telling the world, in plain English, exactly what could go wrong. So this path forward, it's definitely not guaranteed. CVD openly admits it relies heavily on just a few big customers. Its sales cycles can take over a year, which makes forecasting a nightmare. And, like a lot of companies, it's vulnerable to supply chain messes, tariffs, and just really intense competition. And this direct quote from the filing really hammers that first risk home. Get this, in 2025, just 2 customers made up over 40% of their revenue. So when the company says losing one would have a material adverse effect, that is not an exaggeration. That is the high wire act they have to manage every single day.
And that brings us right here to the final question. We've seen the crisis in the numbers, and we've seen the bold transformation plan laid out in black and white. CVD is betting its entire 40-year history on a leaner model in 3 key growth markets. The question is, will it be enough? Well, only time, and of course, the next 10K will tell.